certificate if the advanced way of doing pranic healing is similar to this. I have no idea because I haven't taken that course yet. It's a goal of mine, hopefully this year, to take that second certification. So I'm not sure how this relates or anything. It was a message that I received intuitively, and I just wanted to share with you because I thought it was so powerful. Normally, I can either feel or see energy either in color or in weight level, like if it's heavy or medium or light, or I get verbal messages. It just depends on the connection between myself and the person that I'm working on. I don't know if it has to do with a level of openness. I'm not sure. I don't know how this works exactly. The only thing I know is that it does work. Before I go into a healing, I do a series of prayers. And one of my first prayers is to, just ask for God, the universe, energy, for this healing to be blessed. I normally rest my head down into my hands or into my legs when I make this prayer. I just go inward, and when I lower my head, I feel like that helps me go inward into prayer. And when I did that, I immediately saw an image of the woman I'm healing wrapped up in a cocoon or like an egg. It was a purple egg. And I clearly heard my intuition tell me that I was to wrap her up and protect her in this egg, this purple egg, which is something that I've never experienced. It was so vivid and so powerful that, of course, I was going to just agree. There's no room to disagree or not do what you're being called to do. So I began to do a completely different type of energy healing than what I learned. And essentially what felt like I laid her down and her body was nude. She was nude. And I positioned her in fetal position. I can't even begin to explain the imagery that's taking place. But usually when I'm healing, my eyes are closed unless I'm being called to keep them open. And in some cases that has happened in the past. I gather her like a little baby almost, and I put her in fetal position, and I began to wrap her in this purple light. It felt like I was a spider almost, and I was weaving together a spider web. That's the only way I can begin to describe it. I nestled her into this purple egg shape, is what it felt like. As I'm weaving and sustaining her, she's suspended in pure light. So it's no longer me sustaining the egg. The egg is sort of sustaining itself, and my hands are moving further and further away from her. And there's energy that's gathering around her and is sustaining her within my view, within my sight. I kind of take a moment where I step back and I'm admiring what is taking place. And so as I take a step back, I look closer. I sort of focus in on her body and I see something strange and I expand my view. It feels like I'm looking at a picture on my iPhone and I take my 2 fingers and zoom it in. That's what the imagery feels like. So I go in to zoom in, and as I zoom in, I see her 2 girls. She has an adult daughter. I want to say she's around the age of 18, and I want to say her second daughter is in and around the age of 4. I'm not completely sure. And they are in perfect proportional size as adults, but they're shrunken. I don't even know if this makes sense. It's almost like if you were to zoom into a picture and find another picture inside, they weren't like babies. They were like their actual physical size. I can see them. And she had them also in fetal position close to her in the cocoon, in the egg. And I thought that was so interesting because, well, I didn't place them there, nor did I think of them when I was cocooning her. It was something that she did, which I was just so in shock. I still haven't talked to her about this. She knows that I'm going to talk about it on the episode, but I haven't talked to her about it mainly because I'm still processing and I'm still digesting what has taken place. So the next day after I perform healings, emails are sent out with reviews of what took place. So you get notes that are very detailed that I write as soon as the healing is over so I don't forget. It's the very first thing I do right after the healing. And I don't even know if the notes flow. My eyes are closed most of the time when I'm typing. There's probably typos. I'm not sure. I don't even look at them. I just shut the computer and I'm done. You receive an email with those notes. And she responded to the email and was in shock because, number one, she woke up with neck pain, like a kink in her neck, because she had slept in fetal position all night. She does not sleep in fetal position. She sleeps on her side, but not in fetal position. Her legs are straight. And her head is straight, her back is straight. But she was completely curled into fetal position with her legs and her neck. And that night, she decided to go to bed with only a robe on. So she was completely nude under her robe. And in the middle of the night, her youngest daughter, sleeps in a separate room. And her youngest daughter came in to bed with her. And they cocooned together, they spooned together, they slept together in this position. Like I said, I'm still processing what is taking place, but I did want to share that these series of healings were so much more different than the last set of healings. They were much more visual. I received much more instruction. I believe it to be my level of confidence. I believe that it also has to do with me asking for a karmic exchange up front, that it has almost upped the ante of the level of healings that are taking place. And it is so incredible not only to listen to what is taking place with the women I'm working on, but to also see what is happening with me and to feel my intuitive voice and the guidance just strengthening to the next level. There's so many things happening that I want to catch you guys up on. That is the first thing. The second thing is that it looks like this month I am being jolted back in to the white moon cycle. So I was red moon cycle for about 6 months, and for about another 6 months, I have to look back at my calendar so I can get the exact time frame, but I think another 6 months I was red moon cycle, and it looks like I'm going back to the white moon cycle. It's very interesting that all of this is taking place, because I also received a channeling session, which she calls coning, by a friend called Dari Luna. You can follow her on Instagram. It's at Dari Luna, Luna. She is an intuitive artist, extremely talented. If you attended We All Grow in Long Beach, the summit, then you saw her work in the background. So she did all of this incredible background art for the stage. It was so powerful, and she just drew up a series of images that really felt defined the last year. And it was powerful imagery. That's what she's into. That's what she does. On top of that, she is a coach. So I am going through her coaching series, her coaching session for a month. And in the coaching session, she is working with me to set my goals for my personal coaching series that you guys know I'm working on. I'm working on just really honing in on how this is going to look like, because I really want it to be a powerful coaching session. I'm working on that with her, and it's great to have her mentoring me during these weeks because she's been coaching for a really long time. And here's the thing, you guys, that I really want to talk about. It's important for you to continuously receive coaching from other people around you that you want to emulate. I have to gain knowledge and experience, not only from my own proper experience, but guidance from outside of myself when necessary. And when you're doing framework, I like to incorporate not only what my intuition is telling me, but I also like to incorporate the experiences from other women that have done this before me. So as I'm moving through this process and doing this, Dari had offered a channeling session for me. With gratitude, said yes to. It was such a powerful channeling session. So what she did is she recorded about 20 to 30 minutes of her channeling to my higher beings. I know this might sound a little out there, and that's okay. Feel free to do whatever you feel called to do. If that is to exit the episode, then please feel free to do so. I know this type of information isn't for everybody, but I want to be completely transparent on everything that I am experiencing, and it is always in love and light. So I just want to put that out there. So she channeled for me. She normally doesn't channel as a service. She only does this for her friends and her family upon request. But what she does do is if you purchase a piece of her art, she'll offer a little bit of channeling with a purchase of her art. So head over to her website if you're interested in something like this. It's dariluna.com. And she also obviously offers her intuitive services as she's working with us through her coaching session, which I've loved the experience of her coaching session, and it's inspired me to implement some of the things that she incorporates into my coaching series. So I'm really inspired by her. I'm not going to go into everything that we talked about. I did have a very specific question. I'm still working through the money issue. You guys know that. So again, this is probably a topic that I'm going to be talking about for the next couple of months and going into it formally once I come out of this, the other side. The message that I received that I do want to share with you all is that I am entering a winter season again, even though I just entered a winter season. So think about it as the wise woman phase. Normally, we go through these major seasons throughout the year. What she explained to me was that the last time I went into the winter phase, I went into the spring phase and rushed through all the seasons, summer and fall, and I've already, essentially she used the word graduated. You already graduated and you're being called to go back into the winter phase. And that was really hard for me to process because I've been like, I'm ready, I'm open, but my higher beings are asking me to go back in. And it was confirmed with me being jolted back into the mother phase. I've been bleeding about a week now. So normally right now I would be in my enchantress phase. But because I'm being pulled into the white moon phase, it is confirming what she is telling me. That it's time to do work, go back in so that I can go to the next level. She said that my higher beings were telling her that I'm moving very fast. And on the same side of that, I'm also comfortable in the way I've expanded these last couple of months, that it's time for me to move out of my comfort zone and continue to expand even further. Which as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, I just stretched myself. What do you mean I have to stretch myself again? And that was a little annoying. And as soon as I had those feelings, she said, your higher beings know that you're stretching yourself and you're kind of like, I just did this. Why do I have to do this again? And the answer is that what you're looking for is there. Essentially, the treasure, the missing piece, the key, the financial answer is in the winter energy for me again, and that it was time for me to go back in. My ego wrestled with this for a few minutes because I'm not ready to go back in, but my body and she are telling me it's time for me to go back in. What does this mean? What does this mean for Let There Be Luz? What does this mean for the podcast? What does this mean? We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, I'm going to tell you what this means.
Return to the one.
The podcast is going to continue. I'm going to keep recording because to me, this is a creative space and it is going inward. What this means for everything else, I'm not going to do healings for the month of May. And I know a lot of you were looking forward to the announcement of May Healings. I've received so many messages, and I've also received a lot of messages on the coaching side. I want to thank you so much. I have so much gratitude for that. I'm pushing out my coaching sessions, and I'm pushing out healings. This is the first time in a really long time that I am not going to do any healings for a whole month. What is going to take place is that instead of running healings outside of myself, I am going to run healings on myself, which is really important that I do, not only for the growth of me, but I feel like also for the growth of our listeners. There was something so key that Dari said. She said, you're in the middle of a winter blizzard and you're outside sweeping the streets. You're trying your hardest to keep the streets clean, but you're in a winter blizzard. So the work that you're doing is not serving you. What you need to do is you need to go inside your home and rest. And you need to go inward. So I'm not at home yet. I'm traveling there. It's taking me a few days to get there, and I don't perceive myself arriving inward until about a couple of days from now. But I have already begun the journey back. I do have one more healing, and I think after that healing is complete, then I will be able to really head home. When Dari gave me that visual, I received confirmation 100%. There was no doubt about it that I couldn't do healings. And there's a big part of my ego that's hurt about this because I was so prepared to push and move forward at the speed of light. You guys know that. You can hear it in my energy in the last episode. I couldn't record this episode yesterday because I was so low on energy. My body is doing very interesting things, and so is my mental. And I want to be completely open about what it is that I'm feeling. And I definitely feel like dark energy is headed my way. I'm headed there. I'm going into the darkness. Remember, we talked about this a couple of episodes back, or maybe it was the last episode. Dark doesn't mean bad. Dark doesn't mean evil. It just means it's lights out, and it's time for me to apply new tools to my growth so that I could reemerge and become stronger. So I've also made a decision to remove social media from my phone during these dark days. I am going to have Carissa, our intern, post all this month for us. So she will be posting on Let There Be Lose. I do have a few commitments and a few giveaways to do on my personal Instagram. I am deleting the apps, but I will be going in there just to simply upload, and I'm going to have Alfonso, my fiance, help me manage that account and pick winners for those giveaways that are coming up. My heart just kept saying no more scrolling, more praying, no more liking, more meditating. So I am going to shut down. But I'm excited to say that I am going to still keep you guys updated via the podcast on what is taking place and anything that emerges that I feel is appropriate to share. I am really excited for what I'm being called to do in this next couple of weeks. I'm excited for what's going to reemerge, not only for myself, but again, for the coaching and the next set of healings that I have in mind. So that is my long update. I feel like this is the longest update I've ever done. And I almost want to just upload this as a standalone. And maybe I will upload the Yoni series, or what I had intended to speak on the Yoni, on a separate episode back to back. Because I feel like this episode is so long, that way you can hear it in 2 parts. I think that's what I'm going to do. I love you guys, and I am so excited for all of the growth that is happening from Let There Be Lose. Don't forget to follow the podcast on Instagram. Don't forget to rate us 5 stars, write a review on iTunes if you feel called to do so.